All right, what's up, everybody? This is the Off the Truck podcast powered by Instant Quote. My name is Parker Badat, and as always, with me is
Ty Dominguez.
And today we have a very special guest. Bring it up for Enrick.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, what's up, dude? How was the flight in?
Good, not bad. Great to be in Cincy.
Where are you coming from?
New York.
The Big Apple.
The city.
Bro, we met, kind of a crazy story. We met it's been 2 years, or no, it's only been a year, dude.
It's just about to be a year.
Yeah, just about
I
to be.
thought you guys knew each other way longer than that.
No.
It's been a long year.
Meeting Enrick is one of my favorite friend meeting stories because I was on a trip in Rome with a few other buddies from high school, and we were in one of I don't know if you guys know about Rome. There's a lot of plazas, community spaces, and there's bars all around it, and there's this one fountain square we went to, and we were just sitting there, and one of my buddies started talking to Enrick, and he's like, yeah, here, you take it from there, dude.
Wait, you guys met in Rome?
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding. I thought you guys were longtime friends.
No.
Yeah, you
okay,
would've
that's
thought.
funny.
No.
So I was solo in Rome. So I was visiting family in Albania. I was at a wedding in Albania, and I always wanted to go to Rome. Big history guy. And I checked how much it costs to fly to Rome. It's like $50. Why not? I go, I see all the sights, getting kind of bored, right? So I'm literally just smoking a cigarette in the plaza, right? Just chilling, minding my own business. I see a group of American guys, and I'm like, oh man, you could just spot us from a mile away, right?
We damn near had the neck pillows still on.
Yeah.
They're just shouting.
Yeah.
So chugging beers
Yeah.
at 12.
So I think Aiden, our friend, goes up to me, and I think he asked me for a cigarette, right? And he finds out I'm American. We're talking, and he finds out I'm from New York, right? And you guys tell me you guys parked in Jamaica, Queens.
Yes, yeah.
For you guys that don't know what Jamaica, Queens is, it is probably the worst neighborhood in New York City for crime and crime.
Yeah,
It's really bad.
It also happens to be the cheapest place to leave your car for 2 weeks, which makes a lot of sense.
When you guys told me, I'm like, oh man, your car is probably on bricks right now. There's no way the car is still standing.
Yeah, you said, oh, your rims are going to be in the Dominican Republic by tomorrow. We're like, oh, shit.
There was a good chance they probably could have.
Yeah.
But after that, I think we just go out, get drinks, and we've been chilling since then.
Yeah, he showed us all around. You're a huge history guy.
Oh yeah.
And so you got us you showed us everything too, all the cathedrals and then we've been homies ever since. You came up a couple times when we were finishing up college too. But me and you particularly, we were able to bond over starting our businesses. Tell me about how you have a crazy story with how you got into your company.
Yeah.
Tell me the story. It started with your dad, because you talked about some crazy stories of you working on metal framing pretty young.
Yeah, so my dad is a carpenter, a steel carpenter. So he does a lot of the big commercial steel framing. He was a foreman for a company for a long time. And I always helped him when I was a high schooler. Saturdays, Sundays, if he had an extra job, I would just come by, learn the trade, learn how to do everything. I think around by the time I was 18, right? My dad started gaining a lot of connections because he was very skilled. He was very.
Wait, can I pause you real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
What does the day in the life look like as a steel foreman in New York?
Oh man,
how is it different? Do you know what?
It's a hard job, because New York has cold winters and hot summers, So if it's raining, if it's snowing, you got to get up and you got to get on either on the boom truck, you're on joist, you got to lay down the steel. So if the weather's bad, it sucks. But just in general, it's a very heavy industry. New York has a lot of big structures. So everything is steel. So my dad really learned to trade and did a really good job at it. Everybody that he would interact with really appreciated how hard he worked, the job he did. So he was building a bit of connections over time, meeting supers, meeting project managers, other contractors, general contractors, developers. So by the time I was around 18,
Sorry, pause.
no,
Oh, that's our sponsor.
Our sponsor is giving us a call.
Oh, do you actually need to take it?
No, I don't know. I think it's a salesperson. They keep calling me.
I remember to cut that shit out.
Yeah, I need to check my voicemail.
We could insert a sponsorship message.
I gotta make sure
Anyway.
that's not something important.
So you were about 18, and by that point, your dad had developed kind of a
yeah,
reputation for himself.
Yeah, so we kind of we both came to this agreement that we should probably like start a company of our own.
Because he was still working for other people at that time.
He was working
even
for
though
other
he
people
was
at the time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So he had a couple friends that were getting big jobs, right? They were project managers, and they could help us, start bidding on these jobs and actually get our foot in the door and kind of give us, a referral, a good word of mouth, that we could do the job. So we started off by that, getting little jobs, progressively getting bigger and bigger. And I would say a couple of years in, I really started looking at the company. The company actually grew a decent amount. And I was really thinking about it. It's great working for other contractors, being hired to do jobs. But I think it would be a lot better if I was my own GC. And what I thought by that was, instead of having to rely on getting bids in, getting the bids accepted, having to make connections, chasing people for payments, kind of having that day-to-day fight all the time, why not supply my own work? So I had a lot of cousins that were into real estate in New York City. And I was thinking, why not, with the money we've made, the money we've saved up, we buy a property, build it, develop it, and rent it out, become a real estate developer. I have the construction skills. At this time, I think I recently got my real estate license.
I was going to say, you have your real estate license.
I have my real estate license in New York.
And what was all the timeline for this? Sorry to interrupt.
I would say probably 17 is when we first started the contracting business. Mm-hmm. And then probably by 21 is when we bought our first property.
So within 4 years, you were like, we're going to make this, we're going to stop doing work for other people?
Yeah. Well, we never fully stopped doing work for other people.
You're always going to be a sub to someone.
We're always going to be a contractor, open. Yeah. But I think the way you can kind of maintain a steady level of work is, working on our own properties.
Was there something that, like, there's some event that caused you just one day to be like, hey, we should become our own developer?
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, one of the issues of being a contractor, especially at a large commercial scale, especially big jobs, is sometimes you run into contractors or developers that don't pay on time, or they don't want to pay you at all. It's a shady thing to do, kind of a bad thing to do, but it's a business model they do, is where they don't give you the final payment.
How would that look? Like, can you tell me a story of somebody that you know?
Yeah, so I'll give us one of our first jobs we did. We did a massive hotel in New Jersey, right? Huge hotel. We did the entire steel structure of this job, right? And we did the entire thing on time, excellent work. The owner was practically our best friend. You would have thought, he was our brother. Oh, we love you guys so much. You guys are saving me so much money.
Anything you need.
We would, because he obviously was kind of inexperienced. He'd make a lot of mistakes, and we would help him, right? Go out of our way to help him. Come time for that final payment, all of a sudden, he was your brother yesterday. The day money's due. Tough luck. Take me to court, And, we structured the business where it didn't hurt us so much. Like, we still, have to pay workers and everything. But I was really looking at it like, wow, if you really are, like, you have maybe a bad schedule, you have jobs that are not paying. Like, if I had multiple jobs that stacked up on top of each other that don't pay you, you have to pay insurance, you have to pay overhead, you have to pay labor. There's so much cost that you're eating into the little profit that you made, right? Mm-hmm. So you're really at the whims of other people. And I was like, how can I fix this problem? How can I not rely on pretty much the morality of someone else,
Yeah.
So do you have like a lien on that hotel?
Yeah, so we actually, there are ways you can get your money back. You can file a lien, take it to court, give your evidence. But that always takes, if they really want to fight it out, it'll take you a couple of years.
And it's the longest tail that wins, because they're usually the ones with the money.
Yeah, so that's actually the tactic they use, is because they know, for example, another contractor, a concrete contractor on the same job, he has thin margins, he has a lot of overhead. He can't afford to wait a year or 2 years for that last 10 or 15%. So what these guys do is, let's say they owe you $20,000, right? They'll be like, okay, I don't have the money, whatever, we don't have the budget for it. I'll offer you 10 right now. And then you're stuck in a situation where,
do I want to take this guy to court or just get fucked?
Yeah, do I want to take this guy to court? Maybe it lasts a year, 2 years, I get my money, or do I take the cut now and say, cut my losses short?
Dude.
So they put you in they put you in a tight position. And imagine, the reason they do this is because, imagine you're the owner or developer, GC, you do this to all your contractors. Let's say it's $30,000 a contractor. You have 10 contractors that you do this to. That's all of a sudden huge money that you're saving on the job. It's very scummy. Obviously, you shouldn't you shouldn't do this. You should.
But you could see why that they would make it an easy decision for people. So
Correct.
you can't even be too mad because you're like, it exists. Like this thing exists. People are going to take advantage of it.
Obviously, there's precautions. There's ways you can avoid this, but this can happen to anyone, especially if you're growing and taking in new jobs. You could run into this.
You've always grown up in New York.
Yes, born and raised.
In New York, what matters more, your reputation for you or your reputation for your work? You know what I mean? Because I couldn't imagine you can only screw over so many contractors till you actually have to find a concrete guy and your name got around.
So
and you're the guy that screws everyone.
It's very short-sighted, obviously, because New York, your reputation is everything. Because New York has such a wide, has such a big construction business. There's so many contractors fighting for the jobs that are available that the only way you could almost beat out someone else is kind of your reputation, Because it's like, okay, let's say I'm doing a building and I'm trying to find plumbers to do the whole building. I could get 10 plumbers to give me bids, right? And they could roughly, give me the same price on the bid. What makes me choose one plumber over the other? It's a reputation.
It's just not that guy.
I ask other GCs, I ask other developers, have you worked with this person? What did they do? Were they on time? What was the quality of work? Did they give you issues?
Yeah.
You do your due diligence, and 9 times out of 10, I choose the guy that has a better reputation because I'm also taking on a lot of risk by hiring you. So I'm trying to mitigate the risk by making sure I pick somebody that has a good reputation.
Yeah, that's any business. In New York, what trade is the easiest to work with, and what trade do you just absolutely hate working with?
It's tough. It depends.
We can say it off air too.
No, it's fine. It really depends. I would say the hardest to work with, it's not a specific trade, but anything that has to do with in New York City, like working with utilities or more so, I guess, structural stuff like concrete guys, foundation guys.
Oh, those framing guys are the worst.
Steel guys, it's hard, because it's a hard job. It's hard to find people, to staff and maintain the labor. Prices are high, it's strict competition. Everyone is kind of building the same structure. So there's only a limited amount of guys you could really, companies you could hire to do that type of work.
So I just want to go back to between you and your dad, how did you guys decided, okay, we're going to do this business, but how did that split up? Because were you also an employee under your dad as a sub at the time? Like he had his own, or like when you were working and learning this trade, because you obviously had to know a lot about the business to be like, I'm going to run it myself. So where did you kind of cut your teeth? What made it so you felt like you were confident enough to be like, I can do this?
So I was always a worker. I was your day-to-day worker. I put up sheetrock, did all the work that, your average construction worker is doing. Mm-hmm. But what differentiated me at least is I had other people too to help teach me how to read plans, kind of like the progress of a job site, safety regulations, all the codes that you have to follow. I kind of taught myself.
You took it upon yourself, like an apprenticeship almost.
Yeah, I would ask everybody. If electrician came in, I would ask him about electrical work. If plumber came in, I asked him about that. I would speak with Department of Building Inspectors, other GCs, lawyers, architects. I was just trying to absorb as much information I can about the construction field in general. But with my dad, at least, why we worked so well together is my dad had a lot of the technical on-field experience, right? Managing a crew of guys, the physical day-to-day work that has to be done. And I really started specializing in estimating, reading blueprints, code, kind of marketing, bidding, stuff like that. So we kind of split our duties and we worked together.
That's cool. So he doesn't touch any of the paperwork. You just kind of tell him
I'm the paperwork guy.
How do you feel like you guys have kept your relationship tight with work? Because, a lot of families, they get into business that causes a lot of issues for people. But the way you talk about your family, family is really important for you.
100%.
I mean, it's important to all of us, but your family's really tight knit.
Yeah, I mean, we have to look at business. It's not the end all be all. There are things that are more important in business, at least in my opinion, family being one of them. So we make sure we're working, right? If we have a disagreement or we don't view something the same, we discuss it. We make a decision what's best. We might have to compromise a lot, but we never bring it into the home. We never take it personal. We make sure that work doesn't affect our personal relationship. You have to
Got to
split
separate
it.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool relationship to have. There's not many people that can do that. So it's very cool that you guys are able to.
We talk about that all the time.
Yeah, we do talk about it all the
Respect
time.
is like so important.
Yeah, it comes down to respect, I think.
Yeah.
It's just like, as long as you can uphold respect for each other, things are going to be okay.
Yeah, I cut you off. What were you about to say?
I was wondering if you're still working with your dad?
Yeah, I'm still working with my dad.
Okay.
What's the company like now?
So right now
What's the biggest changes? Yeah.
we're just slowly growing. We don't want to, grow too fast. We want to, take what we can handle. Obviously, you want to maintain the reputation that we've established. So we're working on a couple developments right now. We're still in the process of, getting things approved, going through the city. That's a lot of our downtime is going through the city. Once the city approves all of our developments, all of our plans, we're good to go.
I know since Mamdani's got elected, it's gotten easier for people to get permits. Is that just a rumor?
I would disagree. I mean, Mamdani doesn't really have a direct effect on like the code itself. New York City's always been this way, where there's just layers of bureaucracy you have to go through. For example, one of the developments we're working on right now, we bought this property last year, and what's happening in New York City is a lot of the industrial areas where you have warehouses, car mechanics, all sorts of industrial use buildings. Mm-hmm. They're being converted into residential buildings now.
And the code is just wrecked on all of it.
So what happens is a lot of these buildings were built in the 70s or 60s. Nobody cared about the environment. There was no enforcement of code or anything. So when these guys were building warehouses, they were just dumping the oil into the ground. They're doing all sorts of crazy stuff. So then, New York has a big housing crisis. So now they're trying to convert all this stuff into residential developments. But what happens is before you can start the residential development,
soil testing and
you
everything.
have to do soil testing, phase 1, phase 2. And I mean, obviously you should do these things. You don't want to, harm the quality of life of people there. But the downside is you're kind of at the whims of the bureaucracy. Maybe there's something that doesn't really affect the contamination, doesn't really, fix it, but you have to follow it. For example, the property that we're working on right now, we tested the soil. Soil came out fine, right? We're like, okay, we're good to go. It took a month to get the result after we submitted everything. After a month, they told us, okay, now we need the groundwater tested. Not because you're contaminating the groundwater, because we just want to see kind of how the area is looking like right now.
We got a few other projects that people are asking about. Let's see if it's going to be good.
That's exactly what
They
happened.
don't have to waste their money.
And, to the guy that's making us do this, that's just his job. That's kind of what makes sense to him. But if you look at it in a practical sense, that costed us 3-4 months. It costed us tens of thousands of dollars. It's a huge delay. And it's a big cost to us. But to the guy that works in the office that's making us do it, to him, he doesn't care. So this happens to a lot of projects in New York. And that's why it takes so long to build in New York. It's also why it's so expensive.
Yeah, JFK's been getting rebuilt like every year for the past.
Well, the JFK
decades.
project's huge. It's taking forever. If you go by JFK, it's a mess right now.
Yeah.
So how do you stay competitive when...
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, how do you stay competitive when competition is so fierce,
Mm-hmm.
but also you have all of these delays and you have all these like hoops that you have to jump through?
So the ways we stay competitive, right, is you kind of just have to stay on top of it. So if you're an institutional developer, right, you have an office of guys dealing with this type of stuff. It takes a lot longer to get things going, to provide what the city's asking for or finding contractors. It's a small team. I'm in the office. We have our crew of guys. We have our close knit of subcontractors. We're able to respond to things immediately and get on stuff right away, where, for example, another company, if they needed to test this groundwater, for example, they would get maybe 10, 15 bids. They would, check every detail, make sure everything's good, get approvals. Then they give them the money. Then it takes them a long time to mobilize. The time stacks on top of each other, right? But for me, since I'm the one in charge, me and my family are, we find somebody that can test the groundwater. We're okay with the price. We're sure that they could do it. We don't wait. We give them the money. We try to get them to do it as fast as possible. And we save a lot of time. Time is money. So that's the big thing in real estate in New York. It's how fast you can get things done. That's huge.
That's a huge point, because you and your dad have a special relationship, being family, that there's a deeper level of trust that you probably don't have to. There's some things you guys probably talk over, but there's a lot of stuff that you probably won't talk over because you already know what he's going to think and agree with you.
Yeah.
Whereas if you come onto a company, you have to understand why this person works this way or how they communicate.
Ladder,
Yeah, and you have to go through the chain. For you, you just be like, I don't even have to ask him. We've already been through this already.
I react instantly, I don't have to wait.
Yeah. So being that you're a small team, and that obviously works really well for you, is that something where you want to scale to be more of an institutional developer, or do you want to keep it small?
We talked about this, how guys get stuck.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, ideally, if you're looking to make more money, to have more power, not power in a sense, but more ability to take on higher jobs, you need to, have a bigger office, become an institutional developer, take in investors. That's not really what we're looking to aim for right now, because I kind of like the closed team aspect of what we have, making my own decisions, not having to rely on other investors, having huge overhead, having to increase the amount of volume that you have to do to keep up with everything.
Yeah.
So I think we're good where we're at, kind of having a little maybe close-knit development team.
I guess so. It mostly just comes down to bureaucracy. Because could you buy like water ground testing company, or just find a guy that you can just do it yourself?
No.
Or it's a government thing at that point?
Well, you have to find a guy that does it, right? So obviously you can't do it yourself because that's its own
a conflict
field.
of interest.
No, it's not, yeah. Well, technically, it is a conflict of interest too. But the big problem is, you wanna focus on what you're good at. If you try to do 100 things at the same time, you're not gonna be good at anything. For example, the crew of guys we maintain, they're general labor, they are framers, they are carpenters. But if I made my guys start working on the electrical work, plumbing work, and I did everything with my own guys, it would take forever. Quality of work would be bad.
Right.
So we focus on what we're good at. And when I know that maybe we can't do it ourselves, there's somebody out there that does it better and faster, it's not worth, taking it on yourself.
So there's a lot of other Enricks out there that is the plumbing Enrick or the electrical Enrick that 100%. You're like, that's my guy. I know he's not going to screw me.
100%.
And he doesn't want to screw you because you're his guy.
Exactly.
That's cool. Dude, I want you to talk about some of the stupid regulations in New York. You've told me some of the crazy, like, just weird laws, like the wooden fences or the trees. You have to plant trees. Like, there's a few things I remembered over the year that I'm like, that's just insane. Because it's not like that in any Midwestern states. Like, it's kind of the same way. We have way less restrictions. You don't really have to pull permits for a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things they make you do. One of the first thing you do when you have a construction site, right? You have to put a wooden plywood fence around your job site, completely encircle it, right? And
it's like Monopoly.
Yeah, it really is. And it's supposed to, it's supposed to be like a safety thing to kind of let people know it's a construction site. Don't just walk in.
And it can't be just like an orange plastic wrap.
No.
Or like
there's a specific color that the wood has to be painted. It has to be hunter green. And you have to maintain the fence. It has to be neat. It has to be nice. And let's just say, for example, one of the stories that I have, right? This fence has to be inspected. So when you install it, a city inspector has to come, make sure you did it, right? So we did the fence, and the architect actually scheduled the inspection for me, right? He didn't tell me. He scheduled on Friday for Monday morning. I had no clue. So I see Monday morning that I missed the inspection. I'm like, I had an inspection for the fence. I didn't schedule this. And I called the architect. We get it. We like schedule another inspection, right? I go there. I see that they spray painted my entire fence, and the guy wrote a ticket. So the guy had an inspection at 7:00 in the morning. Nobody showed up, so he got mad. He came back later, gave me a ticket for the spray paint just because I didn't show up for.
Because some kids just came by and vandalized it.
And I literally I didn't even know. So we painted the fence right after, and then we see in the system that we got a ticket for for somebody like graffiti not maintaining the fence. And this is like a couple $1,000 ticket. And it's like, what did we do wrong? What am I going to do? Just stay there all night and make sure nobody spray paints the fence?
Yeah, over the weekend.
But this is like a little bit of the bureaucracy that you get hit with in New York, If the inspector wakes up on the wrong side of the bed, he could easily walk into your job site and just give you $10,000 in tickets just because he felt like it, you know?
Oh, it makes me so angry inside. I'm sitting here fuming
you. I'll tell you about this inspector, this guy. He when he walks, because I've had
name drop him right now. No,
I don't remember his name. I would if I remembered his name. But he walks into the job site like a drill sergeant, ready to nail you. And I think I tell him good morning. I'm like, good morning, good morning, right? He looks at me, he's like, why is the sidewalk cracked? Like, first thing in the morning. I'm like, dude, like, this is a job site, like, there's gonna be a little crack. He's like, you're either gonna patch it up right now, or I'm gonna give you a ticket. I'm like, okay. They walk in, they point this out, they point that out. And, technically, is it against code? Yeah. But it's nothing major.
I've heard about that. It's like the screws being 1.5 inches instead of 2 inches.
Yeah.
And they're like...
Or like, for example, let's say like a guy has his tool belt on him, right? And he drops some screws or nails on the floor. An inspector could easily give you a ticket. Oh, unsafe. You have sharp objects on the floor. And if, you go to court to fight the ticket, they read the ticket, oh, sharp objects on the floor. A judge is going to think like, oh, you're
leaving butcher knives on
the ground. You're ready to impale people, right? But it's just a guy that tossed some screws on the floor, There's a lot of variance. So how
do you even stay on top of that? Is it your dad's just spending all on the job site all the time?
So my dad's on the job site, and if it's not him, it's somebody else. New York City, you have to have a site safety super at your job at all times. If there's not a licensed safety guy at the job site, you cannot be working. So there has to be a guy to just patrol and make sure that everybody's good.
You're OSHA certified, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I just thought of a business idea.
Yeah.
You set up cameras everywhere, hook them up to AI, anything that goes against permit or whatever the word I'm trying to say, anything that goes against code, it just goes, hey, something's against code.
Yeah, dude, some guy drops his screws for the 3rd time that day, and he's like, all right, I'll pick it up.
They start getting calls over and over and over again.
Well, Jesus Christ. You might start getting the hammers thrown at the camera. These cameras aren't going to survive a day.
Yeah.
Bro,
that's funny.
Speaking of OSHA, you have some crazy horror stories of these metal framing guys. Like, you were talking about, like, some war stories.
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, you want to be as safe as you can, right? And a lot of guys, they don't value safety. I was kind of, demeaning the city inspectors, but at the same time, I also kind of see where they come from. Some people do work like kind of with no regard for anybody. There are some horror stories of gruesome accidents happening in construction, especially in steel, because you have to think about it. You're usually pretty high up, putting up a structure. If there's not proper safety harnesses or fall protection, you can easily fall and get hurt. My dad has fallen on a job site before. He knows many people that have that, they get hurt pretty bad.
Yeah, dude. And a lot of those guys, they don't even like wearing the safe. I know roofing guys, they don't like wearing it because they feel like that's unsafe.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them have those retractable ones that'll if you go too fast.
So what it is, a lot of these guys have been doing it their entire life, right? So when you've been doing something for so long, you have so much confidence in yourself that you're like, I don't need a harness. I've climbed up without a harness 1,000 times.
Dude, it's like that picture of those guys in the Empire State Building, like eating lunch on the steel beam.
Yeah, those guys, they've done it 100 times.
That's crazy.
To them, it was just like, riding a bike. They didn't have to think about it. They could just do it. So when the guys have to wear the harness, it almost feels like it's like riding a bike with training wheels. They feel uncomfortable doing it, so they choose not to.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah,
it's safer, but they're like, this feels.
It feels
weird.
limiting.
Yeah,
I don't feel like loose or free. So I don't need it. And then one little slip, one little thing, maybe some grease on your boot, or you step on an extension cable when you're up, and there you go.
Are you afraid of heights?
Not really. In the beginning, you are, but once you start, especially when you're working construction, you start working pretty high up. You get used to it.
No wonder they all smoke so much cigs.
Yeah, man. Cigs and Monster,
Yeah, dude, I'm not scared of heights, but I would be terrified if I was having to do framing 13 stories in the sky.
Especially if not used to it. It's a trip, you look down and it's like, oh.
Yeah, and there's nothing around you. You're just on a beam.
Even when I first started landscaping, we were trying to build our business up, and we were like, we're going to do gutter removal. And I did that for 1 year, and I'm never doing that shit again. That was terrible. I hate being up on ladders. I hate being wet up on roofs. I just don't like heights in general. Like,
I don't like being on roofs. I'm not a fan of that.
Any of it.
That doesn't scare me. I'm just like, Why am I up here?
If someone were to start a construction business in New York, what do they do? Because you kind of had some help, but you really did most of that yourself. Because you were even talking about when you were getting your first deals. Can you talk about your first deal? And then we can kind of go into how people start their own business.
So the first job we got was actually from one of my dad's friends. He was a project manager at one of the companies my dad worked for, and he was connected with his local church, and the local church had a summer camp. It was in upstate New York, and this summer camp was pretty much like super run down, right? You know, the cabins were from the 80s, never been touched. Everything is pretty much crumbling, right? And they knew my dad was a great carpenter. He could take on a job like this. Pretty much he put the word in that, you know, Anton, which is my dad's name, you know, he's a really good carpenter. I trust him. If we get him, he'll give us a good price, do good work, and we won't have to worry about it. So, you know, he helped us a lot, you know, get the bid in, you know, upkeep our reputation. Once we got the job, we did a great job. We tried our hardest to do the best quality work we can at a fair price. And we just took it from there, you know. They referred us to other people. We used that momentum to just keep going.
Yeah. And you, I remember a story. Didn't you you would walk into random ass job sites and like find the supers. Like you said, you were like 17, 18 walking into these.
100%. You know, I had my OSHA card. So I would just, when the safety guy would like stop you, I would just show my OSHA card, and it's a big job site. They don't know who's
who.
So I would literally just like walk into job sites, speak with supers, project managers, give them my business card, ask them if they have any jobs I could bid. I'll tell them, you know, we'll do whatever you need. You know, if you need a contractor to do cabinets, we could do cabinets. Framing, we do framing. Just let us know. You know, we'll beat anybody. We'll do better. Just give us a chance. You know, you have to do these things in New York. It's competitive, you know.
No, you have to do that anywhere. I mean, look at us.
Yeah, we do that all the time.
Yeah, we do that all the
You
time.
have to.
Yeah, you got to get your foot in the door.
You know, you gotta
momentum.
You gotta get rejected 100 times to get one yes. You know.
Yeah.
And you only need to be right once.
That one yes could, you know, could help build into something that, you know, could, you know, propel your business forward. You know.
It's all a momentum game 100%. At the end of the day.
What's something you wish that you knew starting that out for the first time that would have saved you a lot of time and money?
Sometimes there are jobs you should say no to, actually. You know, you don't always want to take what you can get. Because sometimes, you know, you start building a little bit of momentum. People start asking for you, you know, and you think you can handle everything. You can take in every job that comes. Sometimes, you know, we're in it for a profit too, right? Sometimes the money's just not there. Sometimes maybe the GC that's hiring you isn't really the best to work for. They're kind of, you know, they're kind of hard to work with. You know, sometimes maybe your own schedule is busy where you might have to sacrifice like other clients you've already developed to, you know, develop a relationship with a new one. So you kind of have to balance, you know, building, but at the same time maintaining what you already have.
Yeah.
Because it happens a lot actually with other contractors I know where they'll develop that momentum, right? They're like doing really well. Everybody's asking for them. They have jobs coming in and out. And what ends up happening is they can't scale with the amount of jobs that are coming in. And they start, you know, the quality starts going down. You know, their workers just can't handle it. You know, they're delaying you. Their prices go up. You don't even see them sometimes. And then I go like, I can't work with you anymore because, you know, the quality's down. You're taking forever to do something.
Then it snows 30 inches in the middle of December.
Yeah, you know.
Yes.
And it's like when every month matters and you specifically, one contractor delays me a month, it's like, you know, you're not only
that's the whole business.
Yeah, that's the whole business. Not only are you affecting me, you're affecting all the other trades on site too, you know. So I have to cut you off, and all of a sudden, you know, by taking on too much, you lose one relationship and they end up losing others. And, you know, that momentum ends up killing them at the end, you know?
It's crazy. There's good momentum and bad momentum because you could have a crazy business just start from handing out a business card and you could tear down $1 million business because an inspector saw screws and just had a bad morning. And that could be the thing that just starts screwing everything.
Yeah, I mean, I view it this way. That's why, you know, when you asked me earlier about you want to become an institutional developer, right? Where we're at right now, to even get to that level, it takes a lot of momentum. It takes a lot of, you know, just scaling, right? And where the downside is yes, you can grow very fast if you want to, But the faster you grow, the more risk you're incurring. So every job you take, you're taking on risk. You know, even if I'm doing one building at a time, there's a certain amount of risk that I'm taking by doing that one building. Now, if I'm doing 10 buildings at the same time, that risk compounds on top of each other because something can happen at one building that affects the other. And the bigger you grow, the more risk you're taking on.
Especially when you start rolling equity into new, and you're taking loans out,
you know?
on the equity of
100%.
existing properties. I mean, that is crazy.
Yeah,
I've
I think
heard.
it's crazy.
I like the quote. You say, "Small enough, long enough, you'll be big enough soon enough."
100%. You know, rapid growth usually leads to rapid decline.
Well, we were
Fast
just
money
saying
in, fast money out.
100%.
Fast money in, fast money out. Let's pause for a sec. How much time do we have?
We got 15 more minutes.
How are we doing?
How long have we been rolling?
Hopefully I'm not.
No, we'll wrap this up. At
Yeah,
the end
we
of
can
this
wrap it
SD
up.
Card.
Yeah.
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 I actually want to ask you a few more wrapping up questions.
Sure.
So, what are your goals right now, and what do you want your goals to be?
So my goal right now would be, I guess it would just be kind of maybe grow a little bit, you know, have maybe a crew of guys that can do the office work too. So we maybe can increase the amount of volume that we do, but not, like I said, not too fast, but just the right amount where I could still, you know, have my hands on things and our efficiency still stays the same, you know, because right now with us being like a small crew, we're hyper efficient, you know. Obviously, the bigger you get, you're gonna have to sacrifice a little efficiency. But I don't want it to be where, you know, I lose touch of the day to day of what's going on.
That makes sense. What do you want your goals to be once you hit those goals? What, like, you know, if it was your dream business, how are you gonna do it? Do you see yourself staying in real estate development in the next 10 years, in New York in the next 10 years, or even just the next couple of years? Where do you see that going? Is that where you want to stay?
Yeah, I mean, we want to stay in New York. I love New York. I was born and raised there. It would be a goal of mine to branch out to another city, you know, try to, you know, have at least 2 cities you have connections and jobs in. And just slowly grow from there.
Maybe Cincinnati.
Dude, yeah.
Okay, who knows?
That'd be cool.
How do you like
down.
Cincinnati? Coming from New York, what's the big differences?
I guess it's the quiet, you know. In New York City, even if you're in the outer boroughs, there's noise everywhere.
We haven't taken him to Red Bank yet, so we'll get back. We'll give him a status update on how quiet it can really be.
I'll take you to Midtown Manhattan during 5 o'clock. it'll blow it out the park, you know.
Yeah, you said anywhere for the Knicks game. You said every single bar
man.
at 5 p.m.
Bro,
was
when the Knicks were playing, there was nothing. New York has never been like that in its life. It is literally like unity out in the streets. It's like you literally go outside with a Knicks jersey on, and it's like the entire block is your friend.
That's crazy. That's really cool, though. That's really cool. I wish we had something like that. I mean, we got Bengals and Reds.
Yeah, it gets pretty live.
By
But
the
no,
banks.
nothing like
Nothing
New York.
like the Knicks, man.
Nothing like
It
that.
was something to behold. When the Knicks beat the Spurs in the finals, it was Gotham City. It was wild. It was wild. It was literally the streets were a party everywhere you go. It wasn't in just downtown Manhattan. It was in the Bronx. It was in Brooklyn. It was in Queens. The whole city was just outside having fun.
It was
the
something
eighth wonder.
like there was more arrests that night than the Knicks even scored the whole second half of the game.
100%.
Like it's like
And you know what's crazy
They're
about
using
that? You know what's
zip
crazy
ties
about that
and everything.
statistic?
Yeah.
If they wanted to, they could have made it 10 times more arrests. The people that got arrested were doing something
like
egregious.
they actually deserve to be
They
in
deserve
jail.
to be in jail.
Yeah, that's funny. Oh shoot, dude, it was awesome getting to talk to you. Is there anything you want to plug or share coming up?
Not really. No, you know, just
And I'll ask you this for the people that don't have stuff coming up. What's a piece of advice that you can give to people wanting to be in your industry, do the things that you want to do?
take it slow. Like I said, take it slow and really build your reputation. You know, money's good. You know, you want money. Obviously, you're in it to make profit, but don't make money be the end all be all. There's a lot of people in real estate and construction that the only thing they care about is profit and money, and it ends up destroying them. You know, they become somebody that, you know, they can't even recognize themselves what they've turned into. You want to stay true to who you are and really develop your business and, you know, have profit, make money, but don't let it consume you.
Amen.
I like that.
This is the Off the Truck podcast. Thank you so much for watching if you've gotten to this point in the video. And check out Instant Quote. We're some badasses.
Peace.